Hi, this is Peggy from Peggy's Tropical Garden. Thanks for stopping by. This is my fountain that you may have heard me speak about that needs to be redone. Um, I'm really not happy with it. The top is a mess. I've planted some plants in here, and here where we live in the Keys, it is quite hot. The sun is intense, and a lot of the plants just didn't make it. So what I'm left with is just kind of, some of the plants are looking good, others are gone, they just died, and just a mess. A lot of dirt and rocks, and it just looks haphazard. It doesn't look deliberate at all, so I'm not pleased with it. So I'm kind of trying to figure out exactly how to tackle this fountain. I've been putting it off forever. So I'm just trying to get an idea of what plants I can put in here, what I need to take out, go about cleaning it up. So here's a good look at the fountain. Now what I'm going to do is take a walk through my garden and see what plants I have available that I may want to use in the fountain. Now it's time to get started. First thing we need to do is remove everything from the fountain. Remove the plants and the rocks. Some of these plants are well rooted in here, I'm seeing, and it's just not working as easily as I thought it was. My concern is there's a lot of tiny plants in here that I don't want to lose in the process of pulling up the plants with the long roots. So I'm a little concerned. I'm using the lava rocks to help keep the dirt in the fountain. If there's a hard rain or something like that, I don't want the dirt to wash out. It hasn't been a problem, but I don't want it to be a problem. So I'm gathering the rocks so that I can reuse them again. And now I'm removing some of the smaller plants. Clearly these are doing well. I love the color, they're beautiful. I was finally able to remove the plants from this section of the fountain. So I am adding some cactus and soil mix and I know that one of the problems that I've had with this fountain is I didn't put enough soil in the first time. And it wasn't necessarily a good mix either. So I'm trying to rectify that situation. And some of these plants are in here and they're doing well and they're happy. So I'm not sure that I want to take them all the way out. But if there's a way that I can get some additional soil under them without removing them totally from the fountain, I'm going to try and do that in some areas. So in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and start potting up some of the, fountaining up some of the plants that I pulled from other areas of my garden. Now this is a plant that I removed from the fountain and it's quite leggy, so I'm just going to cut that off, pop it back in here and let it go. We don't get much rain in the Keys, so we don't really have to worry about it rotting because I didn't let it callus over, so it should be fine. They usually are. I got this idea for potting up the fountain with succulents from a lady I saw do one on YouTube, and her fountain is absolutely beautiful. And so I was able to find this fountain on Craigslist for $100, and I've been kind of working on it ever since. I planted it up before and I didn't really take some things into consideration like placement and what side gets the evening sun and the morning sun and all those kind of things, which are clearly very important, and I think is why the fountain is struggling so much. So this time I'm trying to go about things a little bit smarter, but this area gets full sun, at least on one side of the fountain, but it isn't under any shade trees or anything like that. So I'm, struggling to figure out what to put in here. I considered at one point, putting little cactus in there and stuffed cacti, and decided that, I would go ahead and try some of these other succulents and mix in some cactus plants, some cacti, to see if that will work for me. Now I've cut off the roots of this elephant bush. It had established some very, very long roots. So I don't want it to grow really fast. I'm still going to have to trim it. But before I start trimming it, I'm going to wait and see what I put around it and that way I'll have a better idea where it needs to be trimmed. But I did cut the roots off so that it won't grow quickly. Do you hear all the birds in the background? How can you not like spending time outside? I think they sound so pretty. Good background music. Now these echeveria were pulled from a hanging basket that I showed you a shot of earlier. They were in a bad area because they're where a tree dumps all kinds of debris. It constantly has little leaves and stuff like that falling. And so they were falling all over the echeveria. So I figured they would be a good candidate for repotting and placement in the fountain. Things are really starting to look better already. And here is the middle tier. This is what is done so far. I don't know about these Sempervivum. I don't know if they're gonna make it or not, if it's too hot here. But as you can see, things are looking better, at least on this tier already. So I'm finishing up here, adding some last plants to this tier, and then we'll move on to the next one. Okay, this Echeveria here is a diva, and she doesn't want to share the spotlight apparently. So she's putting up a little resistance, but I think I'm going to win. Now, I'm sure you already know this, but anytime you are planting a plant, it's always a good time to give the plant a once over, make sure there's no dead leaves or anything like that. You want to pull them off, as well as check for pests.
Hey, how's it going?
I'm good. How about you?
Pretty good, pretty good.
All right.
Weather's cooperating.
Oh, I love this weather.
Beautiful.
I'm telling you. Have a good one.
All right, you too. Nice arrangement you got going.
Thank you, I'm trying.
It's amazing how many people I've come to know from being the crazy plant lady working in the garden all the time. But I even have neighbors who will stop by and walk through the garden and check things out and ask about the plants. After we had our hurricane a couple of years ago, a lot of the neighbors, people I didn't know, had never seen, stop by to check on the garden. And so I thought that was pretty sweet. All right, this is how the second tier is looking now. Yeah, I still need to add a few things and trim that elephant bush a little bit more, but I think it looks a lot better than it did. Well, I know it looks a lot better than it did. So that's progress, and we are on to the next level. All right, I'll stop here for today, and we'll come back for the next level tomorrow. I hope you enjoyed the video, and like and subscribe. Thank you for stopping by Peggy's Tropical Garden. See you next time. Bye.